Hello everyone. Today's class is an open discussion. So feel free to ask any questions you may have. have a question. Where does transcendental meditation fit into the yogi lifestyle? You're muted. You're on mute. Your microphone is muted.
That's more of a Western style or type version of meditation. It's not the Eastern, although they try to make it to be so, but that's their style of the Western style of meditation. So I don't cater to that because I go by the ancient teachings that was written down in the Vedas and the Upanishads. Is that it?
Yep. Are there any?
Did I answer their question?
I don't know. Ms. Divine, did he answer your question? Also, anyone, if you have questions, feel free to ask. It's an open discussion today. They said they understand, so will you explain or point towards resources to begin the practice of the ancient teachings?
Yeah, I mean, first you have to understand the basics, and the basics is understanding basic metaphysics that deals with yoga philosophy or the yogi philosophy, and like I advocate, as someone asked last week, I brought this. I don't have my computer, but I brought the sheets. I put it on the projector. When you can move the camera to the, and that is that focus, or should I come back out of it a little bit? Is that better?
Yeah, the text is too small to read, but
I
if you
zoom
guys
in.
want it, you can, I don't know, post it later.
Mm.
Or can you zoom in?
Zoom in. I can zoom in. It's better. I don't know if there's any focus here. Is that better? Have to keep moving it.
Yeah, like old school stuff.
Okay. Yeah. We can do two.
Is that all right?
See that now? You can see it? Yeah, so this is I put this together some years back, and someone was asking about it last week. This is the methodology in which I teach, in which uh, the yogis begin the students with, and it begins with the mystic constitution of man's makeup, which is the ABC of metaphysics, really. And the yogis stress, or the mystics stress, that man's origin and his framework is that man is spirit, and spirit is a divine spark of God, meaning that it is a part of God's existence. It was there always, never. It was never created. And then spirit actually manifests as spirit as a traveling body in the manifested world, because spirit lives in the unmanifested world, meaning that it was always here. The unmanifested world means that it had no beginning, therefore it will have no end, as God has no beginning and no end. And then the soul moves to uh, to build a body for itself in order to gain experience in the manifested world. And the soul first put together the auric body, and the auric body uh, pulls on the shati and turns it into kundalini.
You mind?
What?
Can you move the mic higher? You're covering
Yeah.
it with your hand.
Okay. The soul creates the auric body, and the auric body is the body of the soul, and the soul, the auric body is the body that's almost indestructible. It lasts through for eons as the soul moves through one incarnation to the next incarnation. And the auric body is like a auric atmosphere for all the bodies of the soul, because the soul has many bodies, or many components to itself. It has points of expression, and this auric body what it does. It taps into the Shakti power of the universe, and it pulls in this Shakti power and modify this Shakti power in order to in order to develop what's called a consciousness, or a vehicle of consciousness, which is Kundalini. And it use sound, vibration, and light and motion in order to make all this happen. So the functioning capacities of the makeup of man is the chakra system, the mental bodies, uh, the formation of the pranas, and the etheric body, the astral body, and then the physical body. And this is very important if you really want to practice uh, the yogi teachings and yogi techniques. If you understand this, then you can begin to practice the yoga techniques. Then the next set of lessons you need to learn is the next branch that I put forth is karma, the divine laws of that govern all actions in creation. All yogas are proper action that aid mankind back to the God state of being. So there's several major yogis, and I mean yogas, and I list them here. The Nani Yoga, the act of making union with God through wisdom, and that's the teachings of the yogis and the ancestors and our ancestors who achieved great levels of wisdom. Then you have Bhatha Yoga. This yoga is the action that where you devote yourself to God. And Hatha Yoga is the yoga of physical well-being. And then and these are the correct actions of God towards bringing about physical well-being. And it's the and Bhatha Yoga is the action towards God, which bringing about uh, that brings about devotion to God. Raja Yoga is the yoga of mental development. Mantra Yoga is the yoga of sound, of subtle sound vibrations, which is really the language of the soul. The soul functions through creating certain sound vibrations that manifest things into being. That's why they say that the mantra is the mantra yoga or mantra is guaranteed. The power mantra is guaranteed because if you intone the right vibration, then you sync yourself with the soul and you have the ability to create. Mudra yoga is an aspect of mantra yoga. Mudra yoga have you to put your certain limbs or body or energy formation in a certain pattern in order to manifest the power of mantra, which is mind and Shakti power in unison on any level of existence. And then Kriya Yoga is the yoga of divine action, where you um, take this yoga and make it a part of your daily routine. You create a daily regimen that push your karmic pattern in a certain direction in order to enhance yourself. And then Tantra Yoga is the yoga where you loom all the yogas together in order to force the awakening of Kundalini. Kundalini Yoga is where you uh, awaken the dormant power of Kundalini and begin to live through this Kundalini in full and use it to open the all the major chakras of the body one by one. And this is a state of meditation. And then the last yoga is the yoga of layer yoga, where you bring about a dissolution of consciousness so that you can have the soul bathed in the light of the spirit. This is the you talking about the layer yoga? Yeah, it's layer yoga. That's it. Oh, to the next side. Okay, the next side is talks about tantra, because tantra is where you loom the yogas together in order to awaken the power of Kundalini. And of course, we just went through this. You you use Nana Yoga for wisdom. You use Kama Yoga to stay within the laws of Kama or God. Bhatha Yoga, the devotion of God. Hatha Yoga, the physical well-being. Raja Yoga, the mental development. And there's several keys to Raja Yoga, and I give you those keys on the next column. And then you have Mantra Yoga, you have which is the yoga of sound vibration, subtle sound vibration. And then Mudra Yoga, the mystic science of movement. Kriya Yoga, making all actions divine. That's where you work within the law of karma. And then Tantra Yoga, looming all the yogas together. Uh, Kundalini Yoga, the awakening. And then Laya yoga, the yoga of dissolution of consciousness. And one of the techniques, what?
So when you say Tantra yoga is the looming of yogas together to awaken Kundalini,
Mm-hmm.
that that doesn't mean you couldn't awaken Kundalini through Bhakti yoga alone.
Well, you can't use Bhatha yoga without using other yogas.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the key understanding. All yogas, like if I go to use Bhatha yoga, what do I do?
You adjust your
Well, if
actions
you
and you.
pray, prayer is what a part of Bhatha yoga, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you go to pray, you use what type of yoga?
Karma, Nani,
Yeah, you're using all the
Mudra.
yogas. You use the wisdom they gave you the knowledge of Bhatha yoga.
Mm-hmm.
You use the Raja yoga, right? You use the Mudra yoga. You use the mantra yoga. You use all these yogas in order to do each yoga. So Tantra yoga is looming yogas together. That's why the biggest misnomer with people who look bad on Tantra yoga, which shows their ignorance. They Tantra yoga is a yoga where you use to bloom the yogas together in order to bring about an effective action under God. See, because when you loom the yogas together, then you begin to manifest. You begin to create. You know, one of the most powerful tantra yoga systems I have seen in this life is the 12 blessings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it brings all the yogas together and it have you focus for for 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes in just moving, just looming all the yogas together in order to bring about a result, a positive result. So it's impossible to do just one yoga. You can have that one yoga as the focus, but there's all the other yogas are still in operation.
So could you say that all all yoga is Tantra yoga, but the division is just for us to understand it?
All yoga
All
is
yoga is
karma yoga. All yoga is karma yoga because karma yoga is what? What is karma?
right action.
Yeah, divine action.
Divine action.
So all yoga is karma yoga. And then you cannot have karma yoga without what?
The wisdom and
Nani yoga. Because someone had to give you the wisdom of the law in order for you to know the law, and the law is karma.
mm-hmm.
So all yoga, because Nani and karma is really one yoga. You know, I mean, it's separated so that we can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But all yoga is karma yoga and Nana yoga because karma yoga is the is the framework of the manifested world. In order for you to live and progress in the manifested world, you must do what? You must follow the law,
Mm-hmm.
and that gives you what? Freedom.
Power.
Freedom. It gives you freedom. See, free will have you working against the law of karma and then cause a domino effect of pressuring you to come back on the rails and do the right thing so that you can get your rightly resorts or benefits. Other than that, you're going to get a bunch of negative benefits.
Mm-hmm.
That's why in mathematics, it says what? It says a negative number multiplied by another negative number brings about what?
Positive.
A positive number. Because it always bring you back to the positive road if you go next. But that's the pressure of putting you back on the right road so that you can do what? So that you can determine what?
Predetermine your destination.
Predetermine your destination, which is the law of karma.
All right, so all your good ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on your first block, to the far left, you had the Constitution of Man.
Right.
It begins and ends with
wisdom, yeah.
Right? Now you have to act.
You have
So
to
from
act.
karma and right action.
Right.
Underneath that, you list all the yogas, which we know is really and truly one yoga.
One yoga, yeah.
Okay. Then you have tantra yoga. Can I say? Because I don't think people understand what lumen is. Lumen is what they do in you make clothes.
You make clothes. You
Right.
break. You make
You
one
bring
body.
things together.
Yeah.
So tantra yoga is the synthesis of all the yogas.
Right.
Okay. And then now why even bother going on with your last block then? If we know
Because
that.
this is the technique.
Oh, I got you.
The technique. Raja Yoga is the technique because Raja Yoga looms the yogas together too. But it gives you a technique on how to move forward. The first limb of yoga under Raja Yoga, which is all Raja Yoga is known as the King Yoga, as the royal yoga, because why? The great Swami Patanjali gave mankind a technique in order to enhance his full makeup, see, and tap into the powers, right, under the right divine action. So what did he do? He tells you, yama, control your thoughts and actions, right? Bring control. Once you have the wisdom, once you know the yogis, then you have to uh, uh, bring everything into order. So now you have to control your thoughts and actions because you know the law now.
Are those your? I mean, I know it's not the official 8 limbs, but
Yeah, those are the official 8 limbs. Those are the official 8 limbs of yoga. Yes.
wait a minute. Pratayama is a limb.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes. Those are the official limbs. And so you have yama, nayama. Nayama is the placement of the divine observance to all thoughts and actions. Mean that this is where you put Bhatha Yoga in place because you observe the divine in everything, in all your thoughts and all your actions. You know, and this helps you to not to look down on people so much, really, when you begin to do it, because you begin to see God in everyone, even the most wretched people. You know that one day that they will walk in a saintly manner, because they're whatever they're doing today is only molding and shaping them for tomorrow, and we can understand that. And so then the next the next limb of yoga is the asanas, the seat of power. You begin to learn what the seat of power is, the movement and the mystic power of hand signs. You begin to understand that. And the next one is pranayama, the science and knowledge of controlling prana, the subtle energies that enter and exit your body, and the subtle energy that never leaves your body, and the patterns of the subtle energy that never leaves your body. So that's the fourth uh, limb. The fifth limb, the fifth limb. Tell them to lift up. Oh. The fifth limb is the pratyahara, which you just talked about. That's the technique of withdrawing the senses from the outside world. After you have got the other limbs down, then you can begin to work on the mental side of it, where you begin to withdraw the senses and get in touch with the inner world. Then you have the the sixth, which is concentration, where you channel the thoughts. You teach yourself to channel all your thoughts down a single line of thought, and only think about that particular thing that you desire to think about. And this brings about deep concentration. And then the seventh one is contemplation, the ability to read uh, embedded subtle mental knowledge or information within an object or within the auric fields of the object. And that's contemplation. Contemplation is mental. Is actually psychic ability. And then the last limb is meditation. When the practitioner merges his consciousness with the thing that they are concentrating and contemplating on. This is the ability of meditation. This is when you can, at this point, you can move the power of Kundalini. You can wake the power of Kundalini up and move it from center to center, and in order to blend that portion of the consciousness of yourself with an outside object, right, or so-called outside object or person. And this is the technique. These are the techniques of yoga.
Can you go into the what you mentioned in pranayama? A lot of focus is always given to the external aspect of it. You know, you control your breath, the count, the rhythm, etc. And naturally, people tend to think about drawing energy into the body, etc. But can you talk about, because you mentioned it in passing, controlling the energy that never leaves the body?
Uh, there there's an energy pattern within the body that never leaves. If it did, then you exit the body. Now you got to remember, that's why the constitution of man is very important. The auric body it is a pattern of energy. It has many layers to it. The auric body does, and the auric body. In fact, did I bring that with me? Did I bring the auric body has many layers to it, and in the auric body, you will see that these layers are creates patterns that allow the physical body to exist, because the physical body lives within your auric body. Your astral body lives within your auric body. Your etheric body lives within your auric body. Your energy formation, because each energy takes on a pattern that rotates through the auric body. You know, the apana energy moves up towards the heart chakra and falls back down to the apana chakra constantly in your auric body. The Vyana prana within the sex center, it rotates throughout the entire body, making a rotation throughout the entire body. The solar plexus prana samana, what it does, it centralizes itself in the auric body, but it attracts all the other pranas to come with it and strengthen it. That's samana in the solar plexus center, because that's the energy of the sun. That energy comes directly from the sun. Well, you know, that chakra pulls the tavic rays and the energy directly from the sun. The the uh, the what did it say? It comes directly to the sun. It comes directly from the sun. That's the only energy that does. That psychic center can pull the energy from the sun.
That's why it's called a solar battery.
That's why it's called a solar battery. And now the other energies is affected by the moon and the earth. It's modified by the moon and the earth. But that one particular energy is the energy that comes directly from the sun. Okay, the same way. Don't ask me to explain it, but the same way in the initiation of Earth, they push energy to the Mother Earth and did not touch not one molecule of of the Earth atmosphere or the Earth uh, 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 solidness, and it went directly to where?
To the
To the
locals.
locus of the Earth. Now, to me, that had to be in my mind and reading and studying metaphysics for 40, 50 years. It had to be the quality, a type of energy that had the quality of samana,
Samana.
because we are told that the energies in the solar plexus center and heart center receive their energy directly from the sun. The energies in the throat center and Christ center receive their energies from the moon, and the energies in the base of the spine and sex center receive their energies from the earth. So those energies are modified by the earth, and the first two major chakras, the next two major chakras is from the sun, and the others two major chakras uh, is from the moon, and that's the way it goes. And it makes sense because throat, the throat chakra and the Christ chakra is a subtle mental energy type. Because why? It allows us to live in the mental world and allow us to communicate in the mental and the physical world. And it is the command center for this world because mind does what
Molds and
to
shapes.
energy? Huh?
Molds and shapes.
It molds and shapes energy. So that's the way it works. All right. That's why your solar plexus center and your heart center is the center to actually control the span of your life.
So,
Your heart and the solar plexus center. It controls the span of your life. So everybody died from what?
Expired heart.
A cardiac arrest. When that stopped, we die. We transition to another realm of existence. So and that's dictated by the solar lords of this solar system,
mhm.
who follow everything according to the law of karma. You know.
So
So
if samana is not limited or inhibited by the ring past knot,
mhm.
why not raising kundalini to the solar plexus allow us to project beyond the ring past knot?
Because uh, at the throat center, you you have a higher state of consciousness, and it's a purification center.
Hmm.
See, the only reason why we can speak on the physical realm is because the vocal box, does what? What does it do?
It,
It projects consciousness.
It projects consciousness, and it cuts out what? Distortion. If you was to set up a speaker box here,
hmm
if you don't have the right speakers or tweaks, what happens? You get what?
Noise.
You get noise. You get static. So the vocal box, this vocal box, thousands of years ago, the yogi said this is a purification point. And in fact, when you can raise kundalini to the throat center, then you purify all your thoughts, all your actions to the point where karma allows you to break the ring past knot, to break through the ring past knot. It allows a part of your consciousness to be able to be purified enough to visit other planets in your etheric form. So,
Only after raising it to the throat center.
and only after raising to the throat center.
Not necessarily past it.
Huh?
You don't have to raise it.
No, you don't have to raise it past. You have to, because at that point, You have purified that part of the consciousness. So that part of the consciousness would never do something outside of the law, because it has so much understanding that it knows not. Now, when you move it to the Christ center, you become an avatar. Because why? What is an avatar? Avatar is like a great diva. Because now you can manipulate thought, energy, everything in order to bring about the correct results. And you work within the law, so you won't do anything negative. You know, that's why the black musicians try not to work through those centers, the Shushuna, because the only thing it does, it keeps restricting it to do the right thing. It restricts it so that you have to follow the law, right? So your consciousness becomes a part of the law. It is the law,
That makes sense.
you know.
What separates man from animal is not the ability to communicate, it's speech.
Speech, yeah.
And speech represents free will.
Well, clarity. It represents clarity more than anything, because you can clarify things between objects. You can link it physically, you know. And proper speech has to come with emotion, you know. So everybody know what certain hand signs are, regardless if they unconscious of it. If they see somebody going like this, they know what? Stop. Stop and think, cautious, you know, whatever, you know. So it brings about clarity. It's a point of purification. So that's why it is what it is. And remember, according to the ancient law, that the solar plexus center was what? What was the solar plexus center? Well, no, I'm saying it came from where?
The heart center.
The heart center, which combined was what? The original. Okay, see if we have any. So everybody understand that? See if we have any questions.
One question.
Hold on. Those keys, are those keys the 8 limbs?
Yeah, those keys are the 8 limbs. You see what I say up here? The key to making all yogas work effectively. And, you know, it's the 8 limbs. What is it?
It's not related to what you're talking about, but they ask, why did you include occult chemistry on your website?
Why did I include it? By Charles Leadbeater? Or was it Charles Leadbeater and Annie Besant? That's what they're speaking about?
I don't know. I thought they're referring to a section on occult chemistry or a book on occult
I
chemistry.
did include that book, the Court Chemistry by Charles Leadbeater and Annie Besant, or Charles Leadbeater by himself, one or the other.
You say, yes, I think the book. Where does occult chemistry fit into all of this?
All of this is a court chemistry. if all of it fits in this. If you go this route, you'll begin to understand everything in the yogic world. These are like, after 30, 40 years of teaching this is, in fact, if you notice, the last 20 years, this is how I taught. I went down, I always base everything back on what? The constitution of man. And then I go to yoga. I go to karma, then yoga. So, because why? Because this is how you're going to grasp the greater understanding of all those other subjects. Because this is all the subjects combined.
I get pins and needles in my arms when practicing mantra. Is there something I what? Is there something I can put inside my meditation room to help?
Huh? Where? It's getting too hot.
Oh, the bulb is getting too hot. The fan.
So what happens when you chant mantra? Um, the aura begins to spin, and when the aura begins to spin, um, the molecules within the aura rub against itself, and sometimes this is experienced in the physical or the astral body. You experience needles, a needle type feeling. You experience a itching type feeling. Uh, some people feel a pressure on their chest. Some people feel a tightness around their neck. Uh, this is the aura spinning rapidly within the from the mantra. Now you got to understand that the mantra is related to the petals and the seed mantras within the chakras. The letters of mantra comes uh, from the energy configuration of the chakra. So when you begin to chant the mantra, you activate those petals and or BJs within the chakra, which forces the aura to begin to react in a particular way, and then it begins to spin, and then you begin to have the sensations uh, that you have. Now, what some people have did in the past, uh, they have put crystals in the room in order to help with if they have a rush of this, they put crystals in the room. Some people say crystals help uh, hold this down, hold the energy down, or the itching or something. Um, you can have plant life in the room too. That helps. Uh, in back in the day, they would put water, rock, some type of water, rock, the elements. They'll put those elements in the room to help because they are constantly pulling on energy. So, I mean, you can see if that helped you.
Are the are the stars' positions the reasons why we're all waking up?
I don't. I don't know. Some people say that. Some people. Yeah, planetary consciousness. Some people say that, but I don't think that's the reason. I mean, I mean, I don't think that's the reason. I mean, the stars do matter. The formation of the stars, astronomy or astrology, it does work. Very few people can actually understand the science behind that, the real science behind it. It's not about picking your mate and and your proper career and all of this, and it's not about that. Although you can predict those things, but it's not about that. Is there another question? And anyone want this chart, they can email, and I send this chart to them. I think we might have a more updated version of it too. Did I answer the question about the mantra? Did they understand what I was saying? Or no, someone else did.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
It is said it's best to wait 3 hours after food or after eating before practicing pranayama. Do the same restrictions apply to mantra?
Not really. I mean, but you can't go. You can't go and start chanting mantra on a full stomach. Uh, some yogi teachings say wait 2 hours. Others say wait 3 hours. And then after you finish, you wait 1 hour before eating. But with mantra, you can't go into chanting mantra on a full stomach. It's not a good thing to do. So to adopt 2 or 3 hours would probably be good too, or at least 1 hour, hour and a half, or something like that.
Do you practice pranayama throughout the entire day?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. You just have to make sure that you take the proper breaks and make sure you don't have the bends. Like you, because sometimes when you do it all day long,
When
the same way when you go diving,
and
you
nitrogen
get,
gets in the bloodstream,
yeah,
it's a very painful condition.
Yeah, I know, but what do I do with pranayama?
it happens.
Oh, you can give yourself that?
Yes, yes,
But you're taking in a larger quantity of air and it can push nitrogen into the bloodstream.
yeah. Because you remember, oxygen and nitrogen is what?
Air.
It's air. So, so when you're doing it for long periods of time, it happened to me. So, and I know it happened to one of my sisters as well. When we was young, we didn't know what was happening, but we realized that yeah, you can get the bends by doing that. Any other question? Did we answer everyone's question?
Yeah. Not that many questions today, but they're slowly coming in. Okay. I was reading about the Temple of the Violet Flame in Shambhala, which is replenished by canisters from a violet planet. Is this true?
Canisters?
No, I don't think so. Where were they reading that from? Where was he reading that from?
Can you tell us where you got that from, Jack? Can you talk about the violet flame? Can we cleanse our karma with the practice?
You can, yeah, you can cleanse the aura. The violet flame actually comes from the logos of the earth. And the logos of the earth is the earth itself, is the entity. Uh, we're standing on the logos of the earth body. And the logos of the earth is the entity, is the consciousness of the earth. And the violet flame actually comes from her. If you if you if you psychic enough, you can go to certain sacred places around the earth. And usually those places are places where there's not a lot of population, and when you look over the horizon, you'll see the violet flame, and it'll be just as clear as day. You'll see not the full violet flame, but you'll see the rays of the violet flame. So the violet flame, when we request the violet flame, we request it from the earth. It's a flame of protection. It's a flame of cleansing. It's a flame of healing. And if you practice the violet flame enough, you can call on this flame for all types of things. Mostly what we do it for a flame of protection and for connection with the Mother Earth when we pray or chant mantra or whatever.
How do you how do you cleanse the aura?
There's several auric cleansing practices that you can. I think that their society give an auric cleansing practice. You can go to their book. It's called The Practices of Aetherius. You can go there and get their auric cleansing practice. Also in The Science of Breath by Yoga Ramacharaka, they give auric cleansing practice as well. So without going into great detail, it's right there on the website. It's free. The auric cleansing practice from The Science of Breath, Yoga Ramacharaka. You can go to aetherius.org and you can order there a book which has a lot of different practices in it. The Practice of Aetherius, and I think they even have an auric harmonizer that you can buy too, which is made out of copper, and they give you instructions on that.
Why is it that releasing some scars, some people laugh uncontrollably while others cry? Is it more about our current disposition or past lives experience or a combination of both?
I have no idea.
Why are they so sure they're releasing some stuff?
So I had no idea. I mean, you're constantly releasing samskaras in your every action, especially if it has something to do with sensation. You know, if you take a moment to ponder on a past event, then you raise those samskaras up, and those samskaras help you feel the emotions of the past event. If you worry about something, some future event, you may pull some scars up that's related to that future event, which makes you emotional. So it just depends on the intensity of the samskara, I would think, that makes them react in the way they react.
And he read that thing about the canisters on the wiki page for Senate Kumar.
Be careful about that.
I have heard that there is some sort of consequences for calling on the violet flame. Is that true?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, there's consequences for everything, but when you wrap yourself in the violet flame for positive reasons, then you should move forward in a positive way. Um,
But do they know that they are born through the violet?
yeah, the only way you entered this earth is you had to come through the logos of the earth, and that's through the violet flame.
I can't hear you.
But that's a whole other subject.
Yeah.
After your many years of teaching metaphysics, what have you found to be the best way to convince reluctant students to start a daily practice?
Uh,
You can't. That's their karma.
yeah, I mean, what I do, I just try to fill a person with knowledge. At one point, the knowledge kicks in. You know, the knowledge kicks in, and then they realize that they need to do what they need to do. So, it's people are people are people. You know, they people get caught up in their daily life, and usually with things that don't really matter, but it matters to them at the moment.
Everyone, do you have any further questions? Please go ahead and ask them. Um, in one Facebook video, Richard Lawrence talks about a practice of watching the shadows while reciting a mantra. Does it work with any dynamic or soul mantra from Dr. King?
Go back and read the book called Nature Final Forces, and don't be so eager to jump on everything you hear, but get the knowledge behind it first. There's a practice that Swami Presa
But he
in
described it differently, though.
in Nature Final Forces. Go back and study that, and
He gives a practice.
Yeah,
yeah, he gives a practice
yeah, but he describes it differently,
still. But I will go back to his book. I'll go back to his book and read his book on that first. And but like I said, learn the Constitution of Man. Learn the. I put a lot of information out there in my videos and gave a lot of leads and standing over the 200 or 400 videos. I don't know how many videos still online, but there I give detailed information on that. And maybe next year I might write a book on the Constitution of Man. And I wrote half of the book already, but I just haven't published it. I finished writing it and get it out there, but that's the basics. And once you get that, then you can begin to understand all the different facets of yoga and why certain practices really work based on our makeup and energy connection to it. And the Nature Final Forces is on our website. You can download it.
and you have a series of classes on nature's final forces too.
Yeah, don't forget to give us a donation to keep that website and stuff up as well. Is there any other class? Any other questions?
Wait, I think I missed one. Uh, okay. I lost my dad last November. I miss him so much. Is there a way for me to communicate with him?
Mm, yeah, you have to keep going on. I mean, if he wants to communicate with you, he will probably make his presence. But for you to seek after him, he needs to be able to move on with his other lessons. This is a classroom. When you die and go to the astral or etheric realms, that's another classroom with a whole nother set of karmic lessons that need to be learned. And if he needs to communicate with you, he'll make a way. and you just have to be aware of him trying to communicate with you. But I wouldn't, I would not suggest doing any type of seance or going trying to communicate with him. Just honor his what he gave you and and his life, but don't try to interfere with his forward movement in his next life.
Okay, I think I got all of your questions. If I missed your question, please repost it and I'll ask it in the chat.
And there's a good book uh, that talks about the other side for Laura. It's called Life Beyond Death by Yogi Ramacharaka. It's an easy read. I think it'll give you much comfort, and it might even open a door for communication for your father if he wants to communicate with you, if you have a greater understanding of, of how it is on the other side. Some, you know, I met some people where where their relatives was trying to contact them
Take them out, okay?
for years and months, but because of their mental makeup, it was they they couldn't get through, and then the person go and begin to expand their understanding of death and life, and all of a sudden they have a wave of communication with their relative.
The best answer
So
to that ultimately is you have to develop yourself to the point where you have conscious control of that.
yeah, of your emotions about that, because you shouldn't weigh on the. I mean, I lost my father 18 years ago. In fact, this past week, September 15th, was the anniversary of his death, and I remember that. I mean, but but I don't concentrate on that all the time. You know what I mean? And I miss him all the time, but I don't concentrate on that. I miss him being here, but if I need to communicate with him, it wouldn't be hard for me to communicate with him.
But that's based on your ability.
That's based on my ability, but I leave him alone to allow him to move on his way. Not sucking him back here, worried about me, and all that, or the family or whatever. So, and I lost my mother uh, December the 27th, 2017, which she used to call me every morning. But, it took me a while not to get used to her ringing the phone every morning and saying something to me. But, you don't want to hold them back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a hard answer, but that's what it is, though.
I think it's that.
Yeah, it's the same way a lot of our memory is locked up of our past life because yeah, we have to move on. Yeah.
Let me get it.
the New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. O great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.